So anyway, he's rocked up just with his driver. Turns out to be Matt Wallace. I've spent £42,000 this year and I've made 49. My first hole-in-one was when I was 11.
You're listening, Chris?
Which was on the same day that Gavin Henson kicked that kick in Welsh rugby to beat England in 2005.
Now, why would you go and ruin a perfectly lovely
bring that
chat,
up with
Toby?
with two English players.
Bonus episode, the one with the Tour Pro. It feels like everyone's dream. We see the highlights reel, we see the major tournaments, we see the shots that seem almost inconceivable, we see the clutch putts that always seem to drop. But what's it really like being a Tour Pro? Our podcast is about our journey, but today we're going on our guest's journey, the journey that has led them to the DP World Tour. Before we carry on with the episode, I'd just like to ask if everybody can hit follow or subscribe wherever they get this podcast. It would help us greatly. And going into the new year, let's get those numbers up. So joining me today, I've got Harbs from Harb 7 Golf. He's our longtime podcast friend, an occasional co-host. And our guest, his name is Toby Hunt. Now, Toby is, and he forgot this at the start, but he's ranked number 1 in Wales. So that's the first one. That's quite an impressive stat to start with. He's the 2018 and 2023 Welsh National PGA champion. He, in 2024, is a PGA Cup player and a Challenge Tour player in 2019 and 2025. He won the PGA West Region Order of Merit twice. And very recently, he tied 33rd at the DP World British Masters. Now, I'll bring up those Welsh Championships because in the Welsh Championships in 2023, the most recent one that he won, he only had 12 clubs in his bag and finished with 7 birdies in the last 7 holes to win by a shot against the guy that he was actually playing with. Toby, tell us about that. How do you end up with just 12 clubs in your bag? Welcome, by the way.
Both broken, not in anger. I just want to put that out there straight away. So I was playing a Pro-Am in Exeter, and I've hit my drive to the right, and I've sort of hit like 100-yard chip out with a 7-iron. And as I've hit the shot, I've gone into a tree root. I've subsequently got 7-iron into the golf club, par 5, and looked down, and I'm like, it looks a bit bent at the hosel there. And it was, normally I'd be like a 1 degree upright, and it was probably about 2 degrees flat. But I was like, something's definitely not right here. So I had to put that back in the bag and hit whatever I hit into the green. And then a couple of weeks later, I was playing a PGA Order of Merit event at St. Mellons, which was my home club at the time. And I've hit it a little bit right again, bit of tree trouble. And on my follow through, I've gone for the green with 5-iron. On my follow through, I've hit it into the tree, and the shaft has just bent sideways, sort of 90-degree angles. And so that would have been in August, and right at the start of September, I've got Welsh National PGA Championships at McCunnis. And because I had limited edition Titleist T100S irons at the time, black finish. So it wasn't a case of like, we got loads in the factory, we'll just send them out. They had to find them. There was basically a delay, so I didn't have them. So anyway, played first round, shot something like 4 under first round, played pretty solid, just didn't hold many putts, so I can remember. Then I doubled the 9th hole. I birdied 7. I had 7 birdies in a row from 12 to 18. He had 5 in the last 5. And the Open where Stenson and Mickelson, they basically just like went off themselves, and Stenson won at like 20 under. Mickelson was 18 under, and then somebody else was, miles back. It was basically like that. We were just playing match play against each other. So I finished at 12 under. He was 11 under. I think the guy who came third was like 4 or 5 under. And it was just crazy. Like, every putt we looked at, we were holding. I chipped in on 15 after he had knocked it really close in 2. 16, like he's holed from just outside me. I've holed, like two of us have holed on 17. 18, I've got up and down then just from the front edge of the green for birdie, and he's hit it on the green, two putted for birdie, win by a shot. And you come off the golf course thinking, what the hell has just happened there? Like
Yeah,
it
like
was,
golf
it
for the
was a bit
gods
of a
sort of
bizarre,
thing.
yeah. Yeah, it was
In,
a great experience, but
I was going to say,
yeah, a
like
bit of a bizarre round. And I
in
haven't had a round like that since, I'll be honest.
I mean, so in the heat of the battle, I'm coming at this from I do not play any competitive golf. Do you have an appreciation between the two of you that this is really special? What's going on here? Like this doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah, I think it's easier in my position where I made double and then I'm like, well, I got nothing to do. I was like 3 shots behind, 4 shots behind, something like that. And I kind of had nothing to lose. I didn't think I was going to win going into the back nine. Like he was playing really solid. I've just made double out of pretty, I've hit bad tee shot on 9 and lost ball. And yeah, I sort of hit a shot stone dead on 12 with a wedge in my hand. And he either bogeyed that one, or he bogeyed that one or the next maybe. And then I birdied the next, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm only like one behind, say now. And then yeah, the last 5 holes, the two of us have basically, like I said, just basically playing match play against each other. I remember thinking like, I'm not thinking about where I am. I'm just trying to make birdie because he's just making birdie. You know, like the two of us
Mm.
one of us is hitting it stone dead, so the other one's got to hold the putt, and the other one holds the putt, then the other one has to hold the small one. You know, it's I distinctly remember out of that was like I've come off thinking like what has happened there because that's just it wasn't a normal round of golf. You know, like
Yeah,
the way it was going is just like everything that the two of us looked at, we were holding, and yeah, it was pretty different. Pretty different because most of the time when you're sort of in the lead of tournaments or up there, there's a bit of nerves, there's a bit of like, what if something goes wrong? Whereas I distinctly remember that's probably the first time that I'd ever been on the golf course where I didn't really have many negative thoughts because I just didn't expect to win going into that back nine. I was just trying to make birdie on every hole. And when it actually happened, you're like, oh, that was kind of what I was trying to do. So yeah, it was a pretty special, special event, really.
Toby, was anything riding on winning that competition? Like, did it get you any additional accolades other than winning the competition?
It didn't. It used to. You used to get the winner of that used to get a start in the Welsh Open European Tour event when it was at the 2010 Celtic 2010. But no, nothing. I didn't really get into anything in with that. And subsequently, when I won it in 2018, was the same. The guy who won it in 2019, actually another interesting story. I lost in a 9-hole playoff in 2020. I think it was. It was Abu Dhabi. Yeah, so Abu Dhabi. I was nowhere after round one. I think I shot 7 under or 8 under second round, and I finished because I teed off earlier than most guys because like I said, I didn't play great round one, so it was middle of the field going out second round, and they had a thunder and lightning delay. So I was in the clubhouse for about an hour and a half. Now, by this point, the wind had completely switched. As many of you play, or if you played links golf courses, you would know that happens. So I hit driver 5-iron into the last hole, and I'm pretty sure the guy who won hit about 3-wood wedge or 3-wood 9-iron.
Oh wow!
And he's, I think he might have birdied the last. I bogeyed the last after making 8 on the last in the first round. So we go into a 9-hole playoff. We play 18 about 4 times, I want to say. Then we played the first. Then we played 18 again. Then we played the first, second. Might have even been the third, however many holes that is. And then 16, I ended up making bogey. He made par. And I remember on the 16th tee, the tournament directors was like, right, guys, this is probably going to be the last hole because of light. Bear in mind, they've had an hour and a half delay of light, thunder and lightning as well. We don't know whether to come back tomorrow. And I'm thinking, well, hang on, like this is up in North Wales. I haven't got anywhere to stay. So anyway, I made bogey, missed out, and missed out on a invite to the Wales Open.
Yeah. So essentially, Toby, what you're telling me is that with a 9-hole playoff, they're basically just making it up as they go along. It's like there's got to be a way to try and separate these two. That
Yeah,
can't
so
be
they,
prescribed, can it? Like we're going to do 18 4 times, and then they'll
yeah,
be the
well,
first. And
well, in fairness to the PGA tournament director at the time, he's probably never seen any two people go into a sudden death playoff and it still be going after 9 holes. Um, so I think they will have had in their tournament stipulations something along the lines of we'll try and play the 18th hole 3 times until we get a winner. And then when that's happened, and then they've gone on the first, both made par, go down the 18th again, both made par, go 18, 1, 2, 3, whatever it was. And yeah, it was a bit bizarre, really. But I actually feel sorry for the people who had to stay. So in the PGA, I think it's the last like 3 groups have to stay for presentation, like top 3 and last 3 groups have to stay for presentation. So you had guys there who were literally following us around. I had no battery left in my trolley either. So I had an electric trolley, and of course it's probably lasted about 22 holes. It's an 18-hole battery, so I had to push my trolley for the last like 5 holes of the playoff. So yeah, a bit bizarre. But luckily, a year or two later, I can't remember. Like I said, I can't remember if it was 2021. I think it was. But yeah, 2 years later, I had a bit of redemption in that tournament, which was nice at McInnes.
yeah, it's a lovely course as well, isn't it? Abu Dhabi. We've played Abu Dhabi, and it's a cracking.
Yeah, it's
cracking
actually
place
one of
to
my
play golf.
favourite courses in Wales. To be honest, I'm not actually a fan of links golf. I really don't like links golf, but I think that golf course is a very, very good golf course. To be fair.
Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it? And we had some fun on the signature hole. Is it the 12th, the par 3?
Yeah, the
That's
par 3 up there.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's a cracking golf course there. I'll give them a name check because they were very, very hospitable when we went over and played there. So what you're essentially saying to me, Toby, is if you're playing in a tournament, there's bound to be some kind of fireworks going on somewhere and some kind of unusual finish.
Quite possibly.
I love all of that. I love all of that.
A bit more stressful than a normal round of golf with a couple of birdies and a bogey.
Yeah, that's crazy. Tell us how you got into golf and kind of that journey into. You turned pro in 2013, so.
So I started when I was 4. My dad played golf. Grandfather played golf. I wasn't allowed to join my local club until I was 10. I wasn't that great as an amateur, to be honest.
What does
I
that mean
remember.
compared to us mere mortals? What does "I wasn't that great" mean? What was the handicap at that point?
So in terms of references for like handicaps, I think I was off at 16. I would have been off about one or two maybe. So in nowadays, you see some guys who are 15, 16 years on and off +3, +4, and they've won all these tournaments. I did win the club championship there as a 17-year-old. So as a junior when I won the club championship. But I turned pro off +1 at 19, not long before my 20th birthday. So I won the club championship there twice. And I remember I'm actually working with a guy called Hugh James. He was working in the shop. I remember him saying to me, what are you going to do? And I was like, oh, don't really know, like when to turn pro, that sort of thing. He was like, well, are you going to get in the Walker Cup squad? I was like, no, not good enough for that. He's like, well, what the hell are you doing being an amateur then? And you look at it and you go, yeah, like what are you going to achieve as an amateur if you're not going to get into the Walker Cup squad, So, I decided to turn pro, and to be fair, I'm really, really glad I did. I've had a lot of success, a lot of failures as well. So yeah, turned pro 2013. Started my PGA because I thought, one, it's a bit of a backup if playing goes wrong. I see so many players now on mini tours and they don't have anything apart from golf, and you're like, there's not many people who actually make it financially for a period of time at the top level of golf. And I see so many guys and I'm just like, why don't you do some sort of qualification? It doesn't even have to be to do with golf. But so I did my PGA, always had that as a backup, was able to earn a bit of an income coaching on the side. Also gave me opportunities to play in different tournaments. We've mentioned Welsh National PGA Championships, PGA Cup 2024. I managed to get into that squad through the PGA, and ultimately, if I hadn't done my PGA, I wouldn't have been able to get the invites that got me into the DP World Tour events. So the PGA deciding to go down that path has actually given me some of the best success I've had in my golf career so far.
So how does that actually work? Because we sort of we want to and need to get into the mechanics of all of this, because we just don't see that. In your head, you have kids started playing golf at 4, must be amazing by the age of 10, must be like ripping it up at 15. Sponsors are trying to sign them up for, and it's just like this path ahead of them, and then it's like, well, they've naturally climbed up some rankings somehow, and that they're getting into, but clearly you just went, actually, somebody said to me, if you're not trying to be in the Walker Cup squad, just turn pro. So I mean, what did that involve? Is that just a wake up one morning and go, actually, I can do it with my handicap? That's what I'm gonna do.
So to do the PGA, when I did it, you had to be off a handicap of 4 or lower to join the PGA and start your training. And if you were off a lower handicap than scratch, then you didn't have to do the playing ability test. That's changed now. It's a lot easier to become a PGA professional than it was when I did it. You have to then do 3 years university course and practical exams. So you do coaching qualifications, you do custom fitting, you do business, you do rules of golf, you do club repairs, and that sort of thing. So you do all that over 3 years. Then you become fully qualified as I was a level 2 PGA coach, and you got a degree there that you can't get taken off you, which is a good backup. So I worked in the shop for the head pro at the time, Barry Thomas. He was a long time coach of mine, and he had a lot of influence on me turning pro as well. He's one probably when nobody else believed I could actually make money out of this game, or be successful at this game. He was the one who sort of always believed that I was good enough. So yeah, was working in the shop with him. He was fantastic, where he would just allow me to play whenever I wanted. He saw the bigger picture. And it was actually quite nice. I know we'll come on to the Belfry Experience DP World Tour, but he actually followed me round there. So it was quite nice that he
that's great.
came a full circle, really, of sort of, he was the one that taught me to get into a position that I could turn pro, and then coached me for a long time before he retired. And then, seeing him sort of walking the ropes for those 4 days was nice to sort of come full circle and sort of have that moment where it's like, I've actually achieved something, almost because of your guidance.
Because
really.
of you.
So
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. That's absolutely fantastic.
That's really cool.
You sort of mentioned that it, then led you onto the DP World Tour. So getting onto something like the DP World Tour, I mean, what is that? Do you have to meet certain criteria to get your card to play there, or is it you're invited to certain events, and how does that work?
Yeah, so there's a couple of ways, I guess. Like the most common way, I would imagine, is going through DP World Tour qualifying school. So in 2018 and in 2024, I got through to the final stage. Now it's quite grueling. You do one stage in around about September, October, and there's like 10 different venues, 4-round tournament, cut after 2 and 3 rounds. Then there's around about 80 to 100 people, and you get around about 20 people qualify through stage 1. Then stage 2 is all in Spain. All 4 tournaments are in Spain. Again, around about 80 to 100 people and get into that. So they would be made up of the guys who have qualified through stage 1, but also the guys who haven't played that well on Challenge Tour, Hotel Planner Tour, as it's called now, which is like tier 2 underneath the DP. The guys who haven't played that great, they get to skip stage 1, but they go automatically into stage 2. So that's filled up with those type of players.
It's like dropping into the Europa League from the Champions League.
Yeah, similar. similar to that. And then you've got, again, around about, I would want to say 15 to 18 slots that go through to stage 3. So I came, where did I come? Third in 2024. So last year. Came third in at Desert Springs. Got through into the final stage. And that's basically 2 golf courses on the same golf complex. It's 4 rounds, then a cut, then another 2 rounds. And that'll be made up of European or DP World Tour players who have lost their card, some of the Challenge Tour players who have a good category and just stable, there to try and get up to DP World Tour, and then guys like myself who got through going through stage 1 and stage 2. So there's about 156 players, I think it is, on that one. Top 70 make the cut after 4 rounds, which I failed to make the cut. So that gave me a category 15 on Hotel Planner Tour. So which gets you a handful of starts. It's not a great category.
Yeah.
But if you make the cut, you get category 9 and you get pretty much everything for that season. So it's quite a achievement if you get into that.
Yeah.
Make the cut after 4 rounds. You basically get full playing rights on Hotel Planner Tour. And from there, then you've got a great chance to get into the top 20 of the Order of Merit, and the top 20 of that Order of Merit gets you into DP World Tour.
Right.
So that would probably, I would say, be the most common for most people. They would go to Q School, they would get some sort of category on Challenge Tour, and then they finish top 20 on Challenge Tour and end up on DP World Tour.
That's brutal, like high pressure golf.
It's really difficult. It's really, really difficult. It's Q School. You have to play your best golf in pretty much 2 weeks. Stage 2 and stage 3 run week after each other. So if you can play your best golf of the year in those 2 stages, you can sort your career out going forward. Then you can spend a lot of time on Challenge Tour and keep your card on Challenge Tour and have a real good go at getting up to DP World Tour. The way I got to play the 2 DPE events I played is I played in the PGA playoffs. Aphrodite Hills at the start of the year. I came third in that, and the guy who came second, Graham Robertson, actually pulled out injured.
Right.
So I was in Ireland for a Challenge Tour event, which was a PGA invite from coming third at the playoffs. I get a phone call on the Wednesday afternoon at 4:00. So bear in mind, tournament is Thursday to Sunday, always on Challenge Tour and DP World Tour. So 4:00 on Wednesday, I get a call from the PGA. Graham's injured. Do you want to go and play at Trump International and DP World Tour? And I'd just been in Scotland the week before. So if that call had come 2 days earlier, it would have been a lot better logistically. But anyway, so I was like, look, can you give me half an hour? Because I don't even know if I can get there. So whilst I was on the phone then to my coach, because I had to weigh up, do I try and play a handful of Challenge Tour events and try and finish inside the top 125, which would guarantee me probably 10 starts on Challenge Tour for 2026? Or do I go and play a DP World event that I may never, ever get the chance to play ever again? So I rang my coach. He was like, you've got to go.
You've got to do it. Yeah.
Right. And that was his first reaction. So Will Irwin at Whitchurch, he's my coach now. And he's like, you've got to go. I was like, right, okay. By that time, I had a caddy sitting in the car with me. I was on the way back from Tesco when I received this call, going back to the hotel.
There are other supermarkets, by the way.
There are, yes. Apologies if we can't mention those things. Just spent a bomb in M&S for Christmas, but there we go.
We'd love a sponsorship for M&S. It'd be great, wouldn't
it? My caddy's in the car, and he's like, right, I can get flights at 7:30 from where was it, Dublin to Glasgow. We couldn't get to Aberdeen, right. And it's a 3-hour drive from Glasgow. I was like, right, okay. So straight back to the hotel, half an hour to the airport, dropped the car off, waited about half an hour in the queue for this to drop the car off. Finally got onto the plane, hired the car, 3-hour trip up to Aberdeen, booked everything in the airport then, like overnight stays in Aberdeen. Got to the hotel at 12:30. I was up at 5:30 and on the tee for 8:45 the next morning. Never seen the golf course. Didn't have a chance to go and walk a couple of holes. Literally turned up, went to the tournament office saying, "Hi, I'm Toby Hunt. What do I do? Where do I go? Right, these are all your credentials. This is your caddy's credentials. This is where you have breakfast, blah, blah, blah. Tournament, the practice facilities are over there. Get given balls, people waiting for your autograph, all that sort of thing." I'm just like, okay, this is a bit new. But anyway, I've been playing. So, I've been prepping for Ireland, played in Challenge Tour in Roxborough the week before. I'm playing okay, hitting it on the range in 40-mile-an-hour winds, in straight into the face. I'm thinking, right, hitting it okay. Let's go to the first tee.
But Tobes, how were the nerves? Like in that build-up, it seems so so much stuff compact into a short amount of time. How were your nerves when you got there? Did that?
I almost didn't really have time to think with the way it was all just like straight on in one go. But yeah, you stand on the first tee and you shit yourself. Like, you've got two European Tour players. Luckily, I'm not a big golf fan, so I don't know many golfers. So I'm not really starstruck by many people. Yeah. I'd be more starstruck by rugby players because I have more interest in rugby than I do with golf. Certainly to watch it.
I love this. I love that. Like, make a living out of it, but I'm just not a fan. I really respect that, Toby. Actually,
if I was paired with Tiger and Rory, I'd probably be a bit shaken, But as paired with two guys, I didn't really know, with all due respect to them, but I knew they were obviously DP World Tour players. First shot, snap hook in the bund. I'm like, where has that come from? I haven't hit a shot like that in forever. The bad ones normally right. So I've just hit 50 shots on the range to warm up, and I haven't hit one like that into a howling gale. Anyway, hit provisional straight down the middle. Playing partner finds my ball. Have to play it off my knees because it's on a mound in the Jumanji. Hack it out. Basically, I go zigzagging up this first hole at Trump, make 8. And I'm thinking, what have I done?
Yeah, why have I let myself in for this?
Yeah, why didn't I just stay in Ireland, play the Challenge Tour event I'd prepped for 3 days for, and take myself away from this? So anyway, walking off the green, and my caddy Dan, he goes, "Well, it can't get any fucking worse, can it?"
Classic.
So I was like, okay, yeah, no, you're right there, to be fair. It can't get any worse. And the next hole then, wind is howling into out the left, out of bounds all down the left, water right, water through the fairway. And I'm standing there thinking, it can. Luckily, I've hit it. I've like squeezed one down the fairway. And to be fair, I played the next 15 holes 2 under par. And played better than the two guys I was playing with for that little stretch. I finished bogey, finished 3 over, which was like 1 shot off the cut line, I think, after the round, 1, maybe 2 shots, but it was right in the mix of making cut. And you come off the course thinking, after that whirlwind, and you're like, I'm actually in a half decent position here to go and try and make a cut in my first ever DP World Tour event. But I went out second round, didn't play that great. I had like 3 bad holes. So I think I made like 3 doubles and finished a few shots off. But yeah, it was just a bizarre couple of days, really.
Yeah.
And sort of, got a flight home then on the Saturday, and luckily got a chance about 3 weeks later to go and play at the Belfry, which was a bit of redemption again.
What did you think of you probably didn't get a chance to soak it all in properly, but what did you think of Trump Aberdeen as a golf course?
As a golf course, it's phenomenal. I mean, I would love to go back there and play it when it's not 40-mile-an-hour winds.
We did that. We got very lucky. It was sunny and just a bit of a gentle breeze. And
I would definitely like to go back up and go and play, because he's just opened the new course up there as well. I'd like to go and play them both. But it's a fantastic golf course. Like,
I just want to say, Toby, both on the first 2 tee shots, mine went right down the middle. But
thanks for that.
Just thought I'd throw that out there.
My second one did anyway. So,
were you playing with Tour Pros as well, Nish?
Say that again, mate.
Were you playing with Tour Pros as well?
Yes.
On TV as well. On those TV cameras.
That first tee at Trump is fucking intimidating.
It's narrow.
It's really narrow.
Yeah.
But it's weird though. And I found Trump strange for this, because when you got onto the fairway and you were, if you were in the middle of the fair, like, it didn't feel narrow when you were down there, but just the visuals of it, like, brought it all
Yeah, there
English,
was a
didn't it?
lot of holes that sort of started narrow and then widened through the drive-in the drive-in distances you'd hit it, or the landing areas, I should say.
Yeah, that 18th hole is just mad. It's a mad hole of golf. Like, it's like 600 yards or something first off, and then you're like, where you're driving, and there's like 3 bunkers that are like diagonally across. And you're like, okay. I mean, I remember
water all down the left. I hit it in the water on the last round again. So
did you?
I think I sort of started and finished with like my 2 worst drives on that first round. Like, I've actually driven it so good from holes 2 to 17, and then 1 and 18, I've just hit it off the planet left, and you're just like, must just be nerves. Like, that's the only thing you can put it down to, is your body and your arms just are not working together really. So
we couldn't help but the main image that was burned in our memories was how massive that Scottish flag is.
Yeah, it also goes well with how massive the putting green is, because that's definitely one of the biggest putting greens I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just a magnificent facility, wasn't it, to play? I mean, I suppose we were playing socially and casually, so it was a bit easier to enjoy the experience, I suppose. But yeah,
and I got to say, the food was fantastic, because you go to a lot of these events. I don't want to start slagging golf clubs off, but you go to a lot of these events and they don't give a shit what they're actually producing to you. Like, so some of the places you go to, I'm not going to mention them, because I quite like an invite to a couple of the golf courses next year in some of the tournaments, so I play quite well in them. But they just give you any type of food. But in fairness, at Trump, it was like, one of the days was like, oh, you can have pasta dish, you can have Sunday roast, or you can have this. They did like full English and for breakfast. It was like they really, really spoilt you. You had like, I'm a fussy eater, really, really fussy eater. I just eat meat and carbs, and that's it. So I was able to actually go there and leave being full. Whereas most of the golf clubs, I end up just having, I'll have a bit of that pasta and some bread, or I'll have some rice and wipe all the sauce off the chicken and just have chicken and rice or something like that. So it's
another thing. You just assume that the players are looked after really well. You could eat whatever you want, but obviously that's not reality.
I think it probably is on top tour, on main tour.
Maybe.
I think you play DP week in, week out. You're pretty looked after, to be fair. But you go to a couple of places and you're just like, I'm not quite sure this might agree with me when I got another 3 days of golf to play.
Yeah, well, arguably you need it the other way around, don't you? Because when you're at that top end, if the food was terrible, like, you just go and pay somebody to sort it out for you. Obviously on the events, and we'll get to the Belfry in a minute, and maybe this will lead to it, but that's the point when you're now hitting more names, household names, let's call them, in golf. I mean, what's that like? Because you're on an equal footing, you're competing, you're there as an equal, aren't you?
So you talk about me not really knowing many people. So I go to the Belfry, like I said, 3 weeks later, DP World Tour event, British Masters. And again, I get the phone call. So I'm in Spain for my missus' birthday. And I get a phone call on the Monday about an hour late for when I could get that last flight on the Monday. So anyway, first flight back Tuesday morning. We get back, me, my missus, and my son. And I drive straight from Bristol Airport up to Birmingham. I've got my coach and my caddy who have gone there. My caddy's gone there on the Monday afternoon. He's then gone up Tuesday morning as well, walked the course Tuesday morning, waited for me to get there around about 3:30. I've come straight off the plane, bit of traffic's taken me 2.5 hours to get from Bristol to the Belfry. Got the last practice round booked, which is 3:30, 4 o'clock, somewhere around there. I've hit 15 shots on the range. So again, haven't been able to sort of taken this thing in on the practice day or anything like that yet. Rock up on the first tee on my own, hit a tee shot, got my caddy and my coach there. Rocks up this guy just with his driver, got his entourage with him, I assume one of him was definitely his caddy, sports psychologist, coach, short game coach, long game coach, whatever it is. So anyway, his caddy goes, "Oh, have you got any teas?" Yeah, you are. I'm thinking, who the hell is this guy who rocks up onto the first tee, not booked a practice round? And like with the thing you got to remember with the PGA and with my old coach Barry's quite traditional. Everything's done like by the book with the PGA. You know, there's a rule book, and that's what you got to follow, and you accept that. So if you got to book a practice round, you book a practice round. So anyway, he's rocked up just with his driver. Turns out to be Matt Wallace. So I didn't really recognize him at the time. So
you need to give me some of those teas back, mate. By the way, you know, so I'm not lending it you. You know, just don't want it.
Anyway, walking down the first, I hit my shot into the water. Actually, funny enough, for the second shot, he's gone straight over onto the second tee because he just wants to hit some drivers. I have a putt out, go on to the second. He's still on there. Anyway, so both hit shots. Walking down there, he goes, "Oh, what sort of things have you been playing in?" And I got to say, to be fair to Matt, lovely guy. So if he ever sees this podcast, really nice guy. Oh, what have you been playing in? So I'm there going, "Oh, well, I've just played a couple of Challenge Tour events, and I played at Trump International, trying to." What about yourself? What have you been playing? Oh, well, I just played in the Open, and I'm going to the top 20, and I think it was top 20 in the world, and I need a couple of good finishes now to get in the Ryder Cup. I'm thinking, yeah, this is not
Should
normal.
I know
this
who
is really,
you
is it, like, oh right, oh yeah, okay. Yeah,
wow, Rory McIlroy looks really different in real life.
Yeah. So, but one comment actually that stuck with me that I didn't know until after I finished the practice rounds. So I've played the practice rounds, and me, my coach, and caddy Dan. So me, Will, and Dan, we've got into the Belfry, had some food, and we start chatting about that, being like Matt Wallace not having any teas to rock up onto a first tee. Like, how bizarre is this anyway? So Will turned to me and he goes, "Oh, well, he actually said to me on the second while you were putting, if this guy can putt, he's going to be a good player." And I was like, "Really?" I was like, "Why would he say that?" And my caddy just goes, "Because he can see you're a good player. The only person who doesn't believe it is you." I was like,
yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So it was quite nice to, if somebody as good as Matt was, to give me a compliment like that. And to be fair, he didn't have to say things like that. He didn't have to be a nice guy in those two holes, So he could easily have just waited another 20 minutes and gone up after me.
Like we're all thinking it now. Can you putt?
On some days I can.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's pretty much everyone's answer, right? Yeah.
No, to be fair, something that's improved, but something can always be improved. I think you get days with putting that you have 25 putts you think you've cracked it, and the next thing you know, you go out the next day and you hit it pretty good and hole nothing, and you just think, what the hell's happened? I haven't changed too much here. So
I've seen you using a pretty cool putting gadget, Tobes, on your social media, following those guidelines. I'm not sure what
the putt view.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, so to be fair, a bit of a shout out to my coach here. He is a fantastic putting coach. That's probably his speciality. It's not like he's not good at anything else. He's a very, very good coach. But he's got Zen Stage Green, with the one that sort of moves around, and you can just put whatever break you want on there. He's got the putt view, so it'll show you all the break. It'll show you where the ball's gone and the pace that it's gone and things like that. And he's also got the Sam Putt Lab there as well, so he can measure all of your technique. So in fairness, he's got a fantastic setup up there. He's got a lot of guys that go and see him for putting. The years I was coaching and custom fitting, you get guys who would come in and spend £550 on a driver because they found 5 yards, 10 yards through the air, and you're like, in true, yeah, Harps, there you go. Like, it's
What's
true.
Wrong with that?
Like hitting it 10 yards further in the modern day is definitely helpful. I'm not going to deny that. But then you got guys who won't spend £100 on a putter. Yeah. And I'm just like,
I'll tell you why, Tobes. I think a lot of people perhaps think it's the easiest part of the game because I just think from an amateur level, there's so much that can go wrong when you're trying to hit a ball a long way and leave yourself in so much shit. And it's on people's minds all the time about recovery shots and playing shots they shouldn't have tried and all the rest of it. But once you're on the green, it feels almost like a safe zone. You realistically, you're thinking, I should be able to get this down into. Obviously, as amateurs, a lot of the time when you don't have the right setup or the right skills as putting, you probably are going to end up with 3s and 4 putts on your score, which is devastating, really, when you're trying to break a certain score.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it, with the putting versus driving thing? I just think ego plays into that.
It's the feeling you get, but it's also that if you play him with somebody, and like I get it a lot at obviously my level, like you play with a couple of bombers and you play with a couple of guys who hit it nowhere, but most people will hit it around about the same distance as I do. You're sort of 280 to 290 through the air. Your 300-yard drives, whatever it is. And there's no better feeling when you have a couple of holes in a row where you've just like nudged it past your playing partner 5 yards, and you're sort of like, oh, on you, mate. Yeah, it's on you.
Yeah.
Go on. There's not really much better feeling than that, to be fair, and a bit of psychological advantage. But
it's the psych out,
hole impacts is where it is. And to be fair, you look at all highlight reels, with the exception of Tiger's chipping at the 16th of the Masters, they're all putts. Graham McDowell's left to right down the hill, or right to left, or whatever it was, down the hill at 16 to win the 2010 Ryder Cup. Like, you could pick off loads and loads of the adverts that you get on TV, and 90% of them are going to be putts that were holes.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? Well, I mean, you mentioned sort of Zen Golf. Plug for an episode that's coming up in the future is I'm actually going to have a putting lesson at Zen Golf in Sheffield.
Nice.
Okay. Because they've been.
Hold on, when is this, Nish?
I can't tell you because I'm gonna wait to see if my putting gets any better or not.
See if it's worth putting on.
I know. If I come back and I'm just like, oh no, what I've done is I've let my putting get worse before.
I'm not sure I like the thought of you getting all this extra training in before our society clash. I'd rather you waited till after that.
I know, mate. I know. Well, another plug, Burnham and Barrow. Yeah, that's going to be good, that, isn't it? It's Team Harbs versus Team Nish. We sort of touched previously about Q School and things like that. You've just come back from Q School, haven't you? Is that right?
So I did DP World Q School and missed out on stage 1.
Yeah.
It's actually a bit of an interesting last story to that as well. So
what flight did you miss, Toby? What happened?
No, didn't miss. More on the golf course, actually. So I've had a decent enough first and second round. Didn't play very well third round. Needed to shoot 6 under really to have a chance in round 3. So I was 1 under playing 18, which was my 9th hole. Just short of the green in 2, chipped it, hit the pin, square on, went to an inch, so nearly holed that. I think I bogeyed the first, and then birdied a handful coming in then, and got it to 5 under for the round. So I kind of knew you don't have live scoring or anything in that. So I kind of knew like top 18, I think it was, get through. I was like, right, I'm right on the buffer here. If I make birdie, I'm pretty much definitely going to be in, but we'll see. So anyway, hit driver down 9 over the trees, dog leg left to right. I got 90 yards left into the hole. Lob wedge. I'm like, God, this looks good. This could be the birdie. Smashes halfway up the pin, bounces about an inch short of the hole, and spins all the way off the front of the green. Right? Chip on, hold the putt, make par, get in, miss by 1. So I've had 2 shots where I've hit the pin square on and ended up having probably the worst possible score on each of the holes.
Mate, I mean, that's just brutal, isn't it? They're the fine margins, I suppose, aren't they?
It is. At the same time, I should never have been in that position. I had such a bad third round that put me in that position.
Right.
But then on the flip side of that, you get agonizingly close to get through to stage 2, and then you just never know what happens. You go and play well in stage 2, like stage 2, stage 3, like I said before, and you can secure a card. So
highly pressurized situation.
Highs and lows of golf, really.
Go Go on, sorry.
I've had Q School in MENA tour, so Middle East and North Africa tour, actually in Portugal, which is a bit of a strange one because it's not in North Africa or the Middle East. But so went over to Portugal, played Q School there, got a card there, and then had 2 top 10 finishes, came 4th and 7th in the 2 tournaments after that then. So I had a pretty good run up until Christmas now.
We sort of have touched on it previously, and I'm more probably at the intro, and then we've glossed over it. But we've talked about golfing pressure, but then you're trying to make a living from this weirdly frustrating game of ours, right? I mean, I alluded to it, and we all see the highlights reel, don't we? We see that I tied 33rd at the British Masters. I finished 3rd and qualified because somebody was injured. Whatever, you see all of that. But what's it like in the background? There's what's the life stress like? You just had a baby as well.
Yeah. So I think this year has been quite different to most years, because this year I haven't really been able to have a schedule because of the invites I've had and the last minute trips going. I played through the summer, I played 11 weeks running, and it was basically because I would get an invite into Challenge Tour event, invite into DP World Tour event, then I would play my normal week on Clutch because I was trying to get into the top 6 or whatever it is to get Challenge Tour starts. So so played like 11 weeks on a trot, and I got to the stage where I was. So at the back end of the playing season, I sort of go Belfry. The week after that, I got into Poland. Got into Sweden in Challenge Tour. Came tied 12th in that, so I asked for an invite because top 10 on each week gets you into the next event.
Right.
So if you come top 10 on Challenge Tour in Sweden, for example, you go to the Poland event next week. So I missed out by 1 shot on that. So I requested an invite from the tour director, and fortunately he gave me an invite. Went to Poland, came 7th there, so got into the next week to Portugal, missed cut there, and I only needed to kind of make 1 cut to finish in the top 125. I finished 132 in the end because I missed the cut in Italy as well. So I managed to get an invite into Italy. So what I was ending up doing was go to the Belfry, come back for a day, fly to Sweden, come back on the Monday, fly on the Tuesday to Poland, come back on either the Sunday night or the Monday, have one night at home again, go over to Portugal again, 1 night back. So I had no real structure at all. And by this point, as any professional golfer would tell you, really, once you have spent more than about 5-6 weeks on the road, you just need some time off. You need mentally to have that time away from the game and away from traveling, but also physically, like 1 or 2 practice rounds, 4-round tournaments. Like, it's grueling. Like it is a lot on your body. I know a lot of people just think, oh yeah, you're just walking around a field, but when you're playing with that level of concentration for 5 hours a day, working everything out, walking 5-6 miles every day for 5 days, plus then the traveling of getting up at certain times, and traveling is obviously quite tiring. So playing 11 weeks, those last 2 weeks, I was just fucked, to be honest, like mentally, physically, and just couldn't quite get it done. But then you have a bit of time at home, which is obviously really nice with my son's 11 months old now. So being able to spend some time with him and watch him grow, because obviously when you spend one of the Belfry, he was able to come with me, Danielle and Miles were there. But like most of the time you're on your own, or you're just with a caddy and you're away from sort of family life. So it's nice to spend time at home, but then it sort of gets to the point where you're like kind of ready to go away now, So MENA Tour was a little bit different. So it's a tour that's restarted. So organization isn't quite there yet. I think it will get a lot better. So we stay. The qualifying school was basically in Troia in Portugal. Fantastic golf course, but it's just out of season. So I got there on let's call it the Sunday, whatever day it was, and there was just nobody there. Deserted island. Like there's nobody in my complex. My Airbnb took the following the sat nav up through the Airbnb took me to like flat number 53, not 73. So I'm walking around in the dark with like 4% battery on my phone because my charger didn't fit into the car hire. And like, just stresses you don't really need.
Yeah.
And you're just on your own because I don't know many people around, the different tours I play, until you sort of play week in, week out on a certain tour, you don't really get to know the same faces. So you're sort of, right, I'm away from my family. I'm in the middle of what feels like the middle of nowhere. It's a lovely place, but just nobody around. Shops aren't open and all that sort of thing. And it is a lonely, lonely place. And mentally you can get some pretty dark days with it if you're not, luckily I'm 32 now and, I've been doing it for a long time and you kind of realize how to get out of those sort of ruts when you're sort of thinking those things. And then to be honest, when tournament days come and you're playing with people and you're having a chat with them and there's 8,800 people at the golf course, there's a bit of life to it. It's like, oh, actually, this is good fun again, And then you go back to having a couple of practice days where nobody's really around. You don't go out for food with anybody and you're like, oh, this is a pretty lonely couple of days again. And then you sort of go back up to getting tournament ready and sort of getting in that zone of being a professional golfer again. So you do get a lot of mixed emotions, or certainly I do. I get a lot of mixed emotions when I'm away. And it is, sometimes it helps being with some people, and then other times you can stay with somebody and you're like, oh, they're snoring or they're not doing the things that you want to do or your interests and things like that. So I'm always a bit wary on who I stay with and things like that. But yeah, you don't always see like I said, the Netflix documentaries where they've got their family with them and flying on private jets and their PA is sorting this, that, and the other out for them, and they get a big check and the big sponsors at the end of it. Sponsorship wise, I cover everything myself, and that can be difficult at times.
I've just been thinking about this, Tobes, because everything you've said sounds like it's a real financial drain on you, even just taking part in these competitions. There's so much travel involved, there's so much accommodation requirements, and then you've got food and you've got any supplies you might need, and there's all sorts of things you're probably buying just to make sure you're always set up for these tournaments. So how well are these tournaments paying you when you are finishing seventh in Poland and things? Is the income from these tournaments sustaining you being able to continue as a golfer, or are you having to rely on working full time?
Yeah, so I've got obviously that PGA qualification allows me to coach. So fortunately, if I have a couple of bad weeks, I'm able to get an income through there. I don't have a huge clientele. I don't want a huge clientele because I want to focus on playing at the moment. And I think I can later on in my golfing career I can turn into coaching if that's what I want to go and do. But right now, playing at 32, I've probably got a couple of years left of playing in my prime. So, I've got that. I've got a couple of other investments that are able to give me some income, not huge, but allows me to go and play knowing that, household bills and things like that are covered. But that's not an endless pit either, So for just to give you an example, so obviously financial year is April to March. I've spent £42,000 this year and I've made 49, and I've still got January, February, March to go and play a MENA tour, which is in Egypt, Morocco, Jordan, UAE. So that's going to be another, I would say, minimum 10 grand, possibly closer to 15, I would say, to go and play those events. So I'm going to be spending the thick end of 60 grand to go and play golf this year. And again, I've done a lot more traveling than I probably would normally because I've played Challenge Tour events, I've played 2 DP events, so I've gone to MENA Tour through the winter. A lot of guys then who just play UK stuff for 6-8 months of the year and don't do an awful lot through the winter, their expenses are probably down to 15-20 grand. But it's expensive to play golf. Like your entry fees are £400-500 these days. Whether you play on Clutch, you play on Mina Tour, they're £400-500. Only when you get up to Challenge Tour, European Tour, is it £60 to £90 because they get their income from sponsors, whereas the mini tours get their income from the players paying the money, and you play for your own money basically.
Wow.
So a lot of
I did not know that.
Yeah.
So again, goes back to my point earlier on, where when you sort of reach the top, you've got so much, or I say so much, you've got a lot more sponsorship opportunities because your reach is so much bigger. You're worldwide as a DP World Tour. When you take something like a Clutch or a Mina Tour, which is very much based in a certain area, and you don't have your Rory McIlroys playing, it's very difficult for them to probably get a lot of sponsorship. Now, in fairness to Mina Tour, they're doing $100,000 prize funds, and it's $550 to enter. So it's pretty good payout.
Yeah.
I did 3 weeks in Mina Tour in Portugal. I think I spent around about $4,500, $4,000. And out of my fourth and tied seventh, I picked up around about 5,500, 6,000. So top tens, I actually made a bit of money, which these mini tours, you don't really, I don't go expecting to make money on the mini tours because you've got the same expenses as whether you're playing on DP or Challenge or Mina Tour. It's still the same expenses. But obviously the prize funds are a lot different. So as long as the way I look at it, as long as I'm covering my costs when I go and play on these tours, when I go and hopefully play more events on DP World Tour in the future, and hopefully get some sort of category on Challenge Tour that'll give me enough events to play regularly, then you can earn a decent income from it.
Yeah.
But it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about I see so many guys on mini tours, on the development tours that have no backup, and they will go and spend 20-25 grand. And again, Q School, DP World Tour Q School, last year when I got all the way through to the final, it cost me about $8,000. I didn't have a caddy. I had my dad caddying for me, and I didn't. I actually he paid for a couple of the food, couple of the dinners that we had. So it actually saved me a lot of money. Really.
Any arguments over picking the wrong clubs?
No, to be fair, actually, we didn't argue, which was pretty good. He was very good, actually. To be fair, very very good.
I played golf with both of them this in a Pro-Am in Portugal. That was fun.
Oh yeah, it got a bit heated. It gets a bit heated, but
heated. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's a good way for a son to describe it.
Well, Toby, don't be surprised if this time next week you've picked up a massive sponsor from the reach you'll get from the top 110.
Mate, this is
Well, I tell you, if there are any sponsorships out there, I'll just about do anything you want me to. There's a slight limit, but
can I just re-echo exactly what Toby's just said? I'll do anything for a sponsorship.
No, and to be fair, I've had some guys help me out a few years ago, and you do appreciate guys who, we're in a climate now where businesses probably aren't making as much money as they used to make 15 years ago. It's getting more difficult to run a business in the UK, and without going into too much politics and things like that, people just don't have the spare 5, 10, 15, 20 grand they can throw at somebody to go and try and make it. And it's a bit more difficult for me as well as a 32-year-old who's been playing it for quite a while. I had a bit of a break where I was a head pro for a couple of years and now decided to come back playing full time. But it is still really appreciated, people who are able to fund guys to go and play. And yeah, it is a massive help on a serious note.
Yeah, and I suppose it's interesting you said about the people who don't have the fallback. You sort of think, you said it at the top, didn't you? You said the percentage of people who are going to make it to the really top end is very, very small, and you've got nothing else to sustain what you're doing. And I suppose the frustrating thing with that is it's like You can have all the talent, can't you? But then sometimes the breaks don't go the right way, and then it's gone.
There's a number of things you also see a lot of elite amateurs that don't really make it as pros. It is different. It is different playing for money. I think standard wise, it's different without you really realizing. I think when you're an amateur, or certainly when I was an amateur, you play a lot of golf courses around links golf courses where the standard scratch is very high, or the old traditional standard scratch is very high. So you shoot level par and you're dropping your handicap by 0.4 back in the old system. Well, you haven't shot 4 under, and level par in a pro game is going to get you absolutely nowhere unless you're playing a trump at 40-mile-an-hour winds. But I think you play when you go to professional golf, you've got to shoot 6, 7, 8 under par to be able to even think about competing for wins. Like, you look at winning scores and some of the events I played in on Challenge Tour, and 4-round tournaments, you're not winning unless you shoot 16 to 24 under par. You very rarely you're going to be able to just shoot. Oh, I've played well. I've shot 4 rounds under par. I've got a good chance of getting a top 3, top 4. It just doesn't happen. So I think that's the big thing as well. When a lot of people go to turn professional, like you realize you've got to play. You've got to be shooting low scores to have chances of winning. And then it's just so competitive now. When you go to Q School, like I said earlier, you've just got to have your best game at Q School to get onto sort of DP World Tour. You've got to just peak at that time in the year.
Which again is that subconscious pressure that you've got, like to get to a certain, I've got to do it now. Like it's now or I wait another year, that kind of thing.
I've had times where I've sort of peaked at the wrong times, and you go and peak in where you play a PGA Pro-Am and PGA Order of Merit event, and not being disrespectful to the PGA, but then that's not going to change my career. Shooting 7, 8 under in a Pro-Am is great. It picks up a bit of money for the day that you're out, but like you need to be shooting 6, 7 under at Q School or Open qualifying, and they're the things that are gonna help to change your career. So it is difficult.
Yeah, I mean it's tough, and I suppose anybody with half their head screwed on probably does appreciate that strain and that stress that you're under, and you're asking somebody to perform at the best of their sporting ability, or if not beyond that, in a highly stressed scenario of like, I need this because I need to earn money to support my family. I need this because I need to peak at this time. This is the one chance I've got this year to get myself in and get my card and all that kind of thing. And then, in the midst of that, you've got to pull out these miracle shots as well that we all see.
I'm in a very, very fortunate position in terms of the fact, because I'm not relying on anybody at the moment. You don't have that extra pressure of like, if you're using somebody else's money and you're having a bit of a bad spell, which all golfers do, you've almost got to justify it to them of like, oh yeah, you're giving me money to go and play, but I'm not producing the goods. And it is that extra sort of bit of pressure. Whereas for me at the moment, because I've been, I've done all year off my own back, it's just me. I've got to answer myself.
Accountable to yourself, and that's it.
Yeah. I'm very fortunate that, Danielle's got her own job and she's fine. And it's not like I'm in a position where I'm like, right, I've got to make a check that every single week to put food on the table. But she understands that this is going to be the next, our relationship for the next couple of years. So I haven't got that added pressure at home, which is quite nice. Because again, a lot of other people have got a family life, and their missus will be going, hang on, what are you doing over in that country? And you haven't earned any money again. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Whereas, I don't have any of that at home, which is a huge help. So like the position I'm in, I've probably got probably got the least amount of stressful situations compared to some other pros who are sort of trying to make it to the top level.
Yeah. We're now hitting winter time. Golfers' favourite time to get out on a course and figure out how many temporary greens you're on and all that kind of stuff. But how do you, as a tour professional, how do you keep your swing in groove? And what do you do to maintain your game?
you've got to, in the UK, you need to have a venue with a simulator. Otherwise, it's an absolute waste of time because the weather we get in the UK is not really good enough to be going out on courses. And because if they're anything like similar to my golf course with a Parkland golf course, it's shut quite a lot. So we've got actually 2 simulators now at our golf club. So I think for me, I keep on top of my swing with my coach, with Will. Like I said, we use the simulator in terms. He's got TrackMan simulator in there, and we also use the putting studio there. And then it's a case of when I'm out on playing on Minotaur for this year, it'll be constant videos back, and having voice noting back and forth most of the time, to be honest, of sort of debriefs of how it's gone.
So go somewhere sunny is what you're saying. That's
pretty much. If you can afford to go somewhere sunny, just go. And to be fair, before Minotaur, like me and Harves have played a couple of Pro-Ams, PGA Pro-Ams. They've been great to go over. You go to Portugal, and they tend to be, the golf courses are as good in the winter as some of the UK ones are in the summer. Because they just get better weather than us. They got more money. They're charging way more than what we do or most courses do in Wales for green fees. But also it keeps. The Pro-Ams have been good, and I've had quite a bit of success in Pro-Ams, really. They're good in terms of it's relaxed. It's not really going to change your life, but you can also keep your swing sharp. You get to know where your game is, and you can earn a little bit of cash from it if you're one of the better players.
Yeah.
And then you go and spend it all on the last night by having a few drinks like we've done on a few occasions.
Not that I can remember many of them.
Right. Well, yeah, that's all the money gone then, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. No, it's interesting, isn't it? I suppose, and it's a different because you have that access to be able to go to these sort of mini tours and be able to chase the sun, as we say.
Yeah, and also through some of these tours, you can get invites onto Challenge Tour and DP World Tour as well. So, they're trying to play 12 months of the year without obviously playing every day for 12 months, but trying to be competitive all year round is quite important. I think, like, I've had a couple of winters where I've probably had finished Q school, and then you have November, December, January, February off, not doing an awful lot. And then you come to like the start of the season in April, and you feel like your swing is kind of there, but you feel really rusty on the golf course.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And I've had that a little bit of playing Pro-Ams like January, February time, where I might have had December and January off for Christmas. And then you play a Pro-Am at the end of January, start of February. And you're like, you're not sharp on the golf course. You don't mentally, some of the club selections, some of the tee shots you decide to hit, just some of the way you sort of play the game is just not quite as sharp.
Is that noticeable to you then? You're just like, actually,
definitely.
I've not made a good decision there.
Definitely. So confidence is probably a big thing. Like, seeing where your golf swing is on a simulator is one thing. Putting it on a golf course, when we go back to, right, if I fuck this shot up, I'm going to miss the cut. Or if I fuck this shot up, I'm going to lose the ball here. Whereas when you're on a simulator, you get a bad shot, you just peg it up again, you watch whatever you're watching on TV or listening to whatever music you got in the background, So it's quite hard to create that competitive environment. And the best way to create a competitive environment is just go into a competitive environment,
Yeah, go and do it,
Mind you, Tobe, you've just admitted to why we never won any of the Pro-Ams now. You're obviously taking personal blame for being a bit rusty rather than it be the amateurs' fault.
Yeah, I've always used yours as a warm up because I never thought you'd take it that seriously. So,
I love that. Yeah, everything always comes down to you, Harbs. Always comes down to you, my friend.
Can I say? But Nish, have you ever played in a Pro-Am?
No, I haven't.
So I would highly recommend it because it's the first time I ever played a round with a professional golfer. So it's first I've got to play with Tobes. It's like playing with aliens. Like the way they hit. Obviously, you've been to watch the pros play and you've seen it, and you're standing watching. But standing behind a couple of yards behind Toby, watching him hit the ball, you're just like, fucking hell.
It's like the energy that goes into it.
Yeah. And he just makes it look so easy. And then you get, obviously, I've played a few rounds with Toby now, and you get to kind of see his thought process. And I think one of my favourite things is me and Michael found Tobes would hit a shot, let's say he's 190 yards out, he'll land it on the green, he'll probably leave himself a 30-foot putt. Me and Michael are clapping, going, "Oh, great shot, Toby," and he's marching up the fairway in a piss because he's not 10 foot closer. It's so bizarre.
I believe I've left it there. Yeah,
I know.
We're
like doing a slow clap, going, "Oh, better stop now." But yeah, we're high fiving each other. "Oh, we're on the green. We might stand a chance of getting some points on this hole." But yeah, it's interesting playing with somebody of Tobe's caliber in a tournament like that, because it's so helpful being around somebody that really understands the game and he helped me out massively. I think the second time we went, I was really struggling with my driver, and on day 2, Toby went, "Do you mind if I just mention something?" And I was like, "Please mention something. Tell me what." I was
hoping you'd do this yesterday.
Honestly, mate, he just made like the most minor tweak to my setup, and all of a sudden it made a massive difference to just my genuine enjoyment for the rest of the round. Which
absolutely. Yeah,
that's awesome.
You play, some of the pro-ams I play in, they say, "Oh, you're nervous." Well, with all due respect, you're never going to see me again, because I may not ever play in this. A bit different with Habs, but like some of the pro-ams I have played in back in the day, like, you don't need to be nervous playing with me, because I'm not one of, number one in Wales at the moment, but I'm not one of the best golfers I'm not one of the best golfers in the world. It's like, you're not going to know me. You're probably going to forget about this in a couple of years' time. So it's quite interesting. Like, a lot of people you play with, they get wrapped up in like the situation of playing with a pro, having your name announced on the first tee, and you actually forget the reason you're there, which is basically to go and have a laugh, go and enjoy it, because you're supposed to enjoy golf. And like, this is what I find it quite funny when amateurs get really, really pissed off on a golf course, because it's like you got a decent job, you're going to go and earn money like 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. You come and play out on a Saturday and you beat yourself up on a Saturday. Like, imagine what I'm like, where, and people in my situation, where like you genuinely have to play well, otherwise you don't have the relaxation of having a 50 grand a year income coming in, or whatever it is that you earn outside of playing your golf on your Saturday.
But there you go. What would you say? We've gotten to top 100 courses. What would you say is your favourite? I'll say Welsh. You mentioned Abu Dhabi before, but I may Welsh, and maybe your favourite UK course.
So favourite Welsh one is going to be Celtic Manor 2010.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people, also a lot of pros particularly, don't really like it. But it's one of the few in Wales where, for me, I would hit every shot, every club in my bag. A lot of golf courses in Wales now have sort of, the modern day equipment has outgrown it.
Right. Okay.
So, a lot of the good, certainly good parkland golf courses at 6'2", 6'3", 6'4" yards, they got houses all around them, so they can't extend them. And the modern day game has just made them a little bit short, a little bit quirky, a little bit easier. A little bit easier in places. Whereas, again, Celtic Manor, if I go off the yellows, none of the bunkers are in play for me, so I hit it all over the top of them. So I find it very, very easy. You go off the whites, and all of a sudden it's a very difficult golf course, because you play into the corner of the dog legs rather than taking it over bunkers, things like that. I haven't played there for a few years, but when I was a member there for a couple of years, and the greens were very good. They obviously got unlimited money, or they did at one point have unlimited money what they would spend on their golf course. So your golf course was in really good nick. Top one in England or the UK?
You could go England and Scotland if you wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, I've not played a huge amount in Scotland. I quite like Archerfield.
Okay.
I've not played any of like the real renowned golf courses like St Andrews, Carnoustie, all those. So I haven't played those. So I would like to do a bit of a trip to Scotland. So Archerfield would be my number one in Scotland, and Trump International. Although I didn't play that great, it is a quality
amazing
golf course.
Yeah.
Number one in England. That's going to be.
There's a lot to choose from.
There's a lot to choose from. I've played a lot as well. It would probably be somewhere around the Surrey belt. there's a lot of good golf courses. I've played one of the Walton. I've played Walton Heath. I've played both the Sunningdale courses. I said the thing is, I'm not, like I said earlier, I'm not a fan of links golf.
Yeah.
So when you and as much as I can appreciate, I've played Royal Lytham and St Anne's. I've played Burnham and Barrow like a number of times. Like in terms of like my favourite courses, because I don't like links golf that much. That's why I would say more the Surrey Belt, because I feel my game is more suited to those type of golf courses.
I'm quite the same, Toby. I'm like I've during doing this challenge, I've learned to appreciate links courses more. But for me, trees, hearing birds, things like that, that's what gets me going on a golf course.
So for me, when I play golf, and certainly visually, I like to see trees down sort of either side, and I can sort of funnel the ball flight in between the trees. Whereas you don't get that on links golf. You've just got fairway, loads of rough, sometimes mounds, but just a bit of an open field around a lot of links golf courses.
I don't know what you've just tried to describe there, Toby. Funnel the ball between the what? Nah.
When you spin it, Mitch,
bit of visualization,
when you hit your 7-iron 300 yards because you've just thinned it. That's the same sort of ball flight.
Oh dear. It's amazing how the terminology changes between hackers and pros, but yeah. Anyway, carry on.
But yeah, playing those sort of like Surrey sort of golf courses with a bit more tree lines tend to be in really good condition. Again, it comes down to money as well. Like they got a lot of money they can spend on their courses. So they tend to be in good condition. Fairways are cut lovely, and tee boxes are good to play off.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What about a world venue? Is there a world course that you've played and you've
Sawgrass. Sawgrass without a shadow of doubt. I played Valderrama in Spain when I was young, and I played it in a Pro-Am a few years later as a pro. And that is a fantastic golf course, but it can be a little bit quirky in places with some of the cork trees. You can hit yourself into the fairway and not have a shot to the green. Okay. But there are some quality holes there and really famous holes there. But yeah, I played Sawgrass, and like there's just an aura about the place. Like you turn up, there's not a blade of grass out of place. I've actually been to the Masters to watch it, and it's a similar feel to Augusta in play. It was, you recognise all of the golf holes. It's just not a blade of grass out of place. When I played there around about May time. And it was just unbelievable. Practice facilities of quality. You get treated so well. The caddy was a good laugh as well, to be fair. And I made a 2 on the 17th at Sawgrass, so that was big as well. So nearly
Job
done.
So, did you nearly hold it?
And it was on camera as well. I got the caddy shouting in his American accent, and my dad filming it. Nearly hold it. And then,
actually, we should bring this up. You've had a hole in one or 2.
I've had 2. I had my first hole in one was when I was 11.
You listening, Chris?
So 11 years old. I hit a hybrid, all of about 90 yards, because I was very small when I was a kid, which was on the same day that Gavin Henson kicked that kick in Welsh rugby to beat England in 2005.
Now, why would you go and ruin a perfectly lovely chat, Toby?
with 2 English players?
Good God!
So that was that was a bit of a memorable day. And then the next hole in one I had was 16 years later, and it was my first round after COVID. So I hadn't played. Again, we go back to competition ready. I hadn't played, hadn't hit a shot in God knows how long, and go and play the third hole at St Mellons, and it's 7-9 in the hole, third hole back, and
amazing.
Yeah, it came 16 years later. So, and I haven't had one since. I've come close, but haven't had.
Imagine if you'd. Look, the 2 is unbelievable on the 17th at Sawgrass, but imagine if you'd have knocked one in there.
That would have been pretty impressive.
Could pretty much retire at that point, couldn't you? You could live off that.
If I'd had it on video as well, I could have sold it for a bit of money on that Zaya Golf on Instagram, I think. So
absolutely.
Nice.
Absolutely. Oh, Toby, look, it's been absolutely wonderful chatting to you today. Thank you for giving us an insight into, a life that we all probably think we want to have, because we do see the highlights reel, but it's really good to understand what actually is entailed in that. And look, this isn't our attempt to try and dissuade people from wanting to play this great game professionally. Quite the opposite. I think, if anything, your enthusiasm for the game still shines through. So it hasn't worn you down, which is always a nice thing to know.
Not just yet.
Yeah, not just yet. But yeah, me and Harbs will at some point we're going to challenge you to a game. So we'll test out your credentials. I feel like I've trash talked my game too much here, haven't I? I was like, shit, I'm gonna have to deliver.
You'll be fine. Toby's going to be our first Beat the Pro challenge, so we'll look forward to that next year.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll get on a long golf course, get you off the back tees. It'll play right into my hands then.
That's all right. We're going to pair up as a 2-man scramble, so you'll be on your own.
Yeah, I've done the odd 300-yard drive right down the middle, haven't I, Harbs?
I've seen it a few times, mate. Yeah. You've not mentioned it many times after.
Just once. Do you know what? It happened. Like, this is how seldom it happens, Toby. I sort of just went, what the fuck have I just done? Like, this is brilliant, because it was dead straight and everything. I was just like, oh, this is perfect. This isn't like it's taking a lucky bounce or anything. It was as I intended, which happens very, very rarely. But yeah, thank you, Toby. We really appreciate that. And yeah, we will update everybody on how our Beat the Pro goes. Go easy on us.
No chance.
Yeah. I'm going for a putting lesson anyway, so it's fine. I'll be all right after that. Wonderful. Thank you. And thanks, Harbs, for joining us today.
No worries.
Until next time on the Top 110 Golf Podcast.